Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 30 Diaries. I am your host, Eric. If you have been following my channel, thank you so much for your continued support. And if this is your first time here, welcome. A little bit about me. I am 32 years old. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I use this channel to just kind of record anything and everything. And the 30 Diaries is just sort of my way to kind of talk about being in your 30s as an adult. And you can probably guess by the title and thumbnail of today's video, I wanted to talk about my EDC, the things that I carry with me every day when I go out into the city of Chicago, which is where I live. As you can probably guess, if you might be in the know, EDC stands for Everyday Carry. Pretty self-explanatory, just the stuff that you bring with you when you go out into the world. For those of you who think my EDC may include a firearm, unfortunately, this probably won't be the video for you. I don't carry a firearm for two reasons. One, being I don't have my concealed carry permit, and two, even though I live in Chicago, I really don't feel like I need it. I think if you have just heard of Chicago through the cultural osmosis of things like Batman, Gotham City, or you just watch Fox News, mainstream media, CNN, NBC sort of things, you might have this picture in your head of Chicago being this dystopian, horrible, evil city, like think The Warriors or Escape from New York. Luckily, I don't think Chicago is really like that at all. Of course, every city has their, safe and unsafe neighborhoods. And I think there is something to be said for being aware of your surroundings and being vigilant. But for me personally, I don't see a firearm bringing that with me everywhere as being particularly helpful. Also, there's a lot of those, gun-free zone stickers up everywhere around the city. So that kind of makes it hard to do something like that legally, even if you do have your concealed carry license. But enough about that. I just kind of wanted to talk about the things that I, as a grown man, bring with me everywhere I go. First off, we can kind of talk about my wardrobe. Typically, when I go out in Chicago, especially in the summer, I wear just sort of a standard shirt and shorts. Let me see if I could get you a good picture. Oop. Yeah, this is kind of what I wear. I do have cargo shorts, and sometimes I wear those out. And I'll sometimes put a little more things in the pockets of cargo shorts if I wear them. Things like mints being one thing that I always carry whenever I have cargo shorts on me. But since this is my EDC, everyday carry, I wanted to talk about the things I bring with me no matter what I'm wearing. The first of those items is my cell phone. I have a Google Pixel 8. I've had this one since 2023 when I upgraded from a Google Pixel 4 to a Google Pixel 8. I don't really like upgrading my phone every year. I just find like a good model of phone and I just wear it down. Like I'll have a phone for like 4 or 5 years sometimes before I upgrade it. This one, I really like the Google Pixel. I mean, I use Google for everything. The camera on it is really, really good. Some of my YouTube videos have even been recorded on this very camera. It's great. If you've seen my Instagram, you can probably guess as the device that took those photos. It was almost all of them were on this one. I think there are a few on there from my last phone, which was the Pixel 4. But overall, I've really liked the camera quality on Pixels. I also have Verizon, so I can get a signal everywhere, and that might even be overkill for a city like Chicago where there are a lot of cell towers and antennas and great Wi-Fi reception and things like that. But even on lower whacker, which is kind of like the, if you've seen The Dark Knight, that's where they filmed the motorcycle chase. It's famous for not being able to get a signal down there, but I can get a signal down there. You might have noticed that I have a case on my phone. It is an OtterBox. I've been using OtterBoxes for probably the last 8 years. They're very durable. I have dropped this thing, thrown this thing on accident a couple of times, and it's completely fine. OtterBox makes great products. Highly recommend them for your phones. If you're looking for a phone case, something that's really durable and going to last you a long time and really give you some good protection. But yeah, phone, necessary piece of equipment. If you get locked out, need a ride, it's there for you. Also, if you just want to like text your friends, scroll memes and YouTube videos and things on the red line, pretty self-explanatory. The phone is great. Now for the rest of the video, let's go over to my workbench back here, and I'll empty out my pockets and I'll talk about the things in my pockets and what they mean to me and what they are. So let's go check it out. So welcome to my workbench. We got a nice little area here where I'm just going to take the things out of my pockets, talk about each of them, and just kind of put them here. The first thing I have is, my phone, but since I'm using my phone to record this segment of the video, I'm just kind of using my OtterBox phone case, kind of using it as a placeholder, and we're just going to set this off to the side here. Kind of the first, most important, probably most crucial piece of equipment I carry with me every day. Next up, something I always wear and always carry on me is a watch. This watch is, some of you may recognize this, maybe not, but those of you who have played Trails, the Trails games, the Trails JRPGs, Kiseki, if you are a huge weeb, you might recognize this. This is the Estelle Bright limited edition Super Groupies watch. Estelle, best girl, best protagonist, Trails in the Sky first chapter. Amazing, amazing game. This watch, as you can tell, has like all the little orbments and Sepith and even like the Bracer Guild logo. I could make a whole video talking about Trails and just what a brilliant, brilliant series of games they are. I started playing them back in 2022 is when I started with Sky First Chapter. And I remember playing this game and thinking it was such a cool, interesting, very esoteric Japanese role-playing game experience. And then I got to that brutal, diabolical cliffhanger ending, and hundreds of hours later, I am now in the middle of Trails of Cold Steel 3, which is also, I'm definitely enjoying my time with. But yeah, always keep a watch on me. This one, has a lot of good memories of just how great the Sky trilogy is and just how playing these games led me to play Trails to Azure, which is probably the best video game I've ever played. But anyway, enough about the watch. We'll put the watch over here. This is just the one I was wearing today. But yeah, I've got plenty of different watches. I have like a Fossil. I need a good digital watch. That'll probably be like my next purchase for myself. Up next, something that I carry with me every day. This is probably also a no-brainer, is a wallet. This one is a Classico wallet. I believe I got this, I want to say it may be like a American Eagle or Macy's, was some department store many, many years ago that I got this from. It's just a bifold, keep all your important things in here. Cash, cards, your ID. Very important, very important to keep all that stuff nice and organized. We're going to put that over here. Up next, for an item I carry with me every day, chapstick. Right here I've got Burt's Bees. You can find this in basically any corner store, pharmacy, grocery store in the US. My lips get notoriously dry, so this helps them stay nice and moist. Following that, speaking of moisture, I wear contacts. So I always carry a little contact case with me. This one, I got at my eye doctor's. That's usually where I get them. I don't really go out of my way to like purchase these or anything like that. But I always keep these filled with a Sensitivized saline solution. That way, if I need to change my contacts on the go, or, I just need to like get them out of my eyes and rinse them real quick, it's right there, ready to go for me. Up next, probably another no-brainer item, maybe, for some people, would be my keys. Always got to keep your keys on you. I've got a bunch of different keys on I've got like a couple different keychains here, tons of different keys. I've got a couple of bike lock keys. You probably saw in the back of the video, I do have a bike. I bike everywhere in Chicago, so got to keep it locked up, so I keep my keys for my bike there. I've got some keys to my parents' house. They recently moved, and as part of a Christmas present for us when they moved, they gave each of us kids a key to the front door of their house, which was very, very sweet. Up next, what do we got? Oh, we got my apartment keys. So we've got apartment keys, mailbox key, that sort of thing. Finally, I've got some keychains. I used to be a very big Homestuck fan back in the day. I have had this as I got this from the Kickstarter for Homestuck. So the Sburb house always kind of brings back fond memories for me. Even if Homestuck kind of, especially Andrew Hussey, may have gone off the deep end, I still appreciate Homestuck, and we would not have gotten Undertale if it weren't for Homestuck. So very niche, comforting piece of internet history that I always carry with me. Next, I have this American dollar, like one of the American gold dollars with a cross cut into it. I got this when I was confirmed in the 8th grade. Pastor Dean, who was the pastor at First Presbyterian Church in Monroe, Michigan, gave each of us one of these. He said, you can't always carry a Bible with you everywhere, but you could always carry this with you everywhere. And I find that to be very, very true. Kind of like trails, I could wax on and on about my faith and my religion, but basically, growing up, I used to go to church twice a week. First Presbyterian Church, Monroe, Michigan. I was a member there after I was confirmed. PCUSA, for those of you who love denominations and care about kingdom craft and things like that. But I went to school to become an actor, and I kind of stopped going to church frequently. I would end up going twice a year, basically Easter and Christmas, and I did that all through my college years until about 5 years ago. I really felt the call to return to church, even though I still read my Bible and prayed every night. I was missing the community of it. And every day, even now, I'm always reminded that the purpose of Christianity, while having the personal relationship with Christ, is crucial and incredible and such a boon to my life. Christianity isn't just about, saving souls and sending people to heaven. It's about bringing the kingdom of heaven here. And this coin has helped me remember that. Up next, right next to my Jesus coin is a bottle opener. John Calvin is probably really happy right now. Irresistible depravity right next to irresistible grace. But yeah, I got this when I worked at Venmo. I have so many stories about Venmo and just the crazy world of fintech and just all the insane people that I used to deal with on a day-to-day basis. If anyone here knows what Vicemo is, I worked very closely with that. But yeah, if you need to open a beer, a soda, any sort of bottle, gotta have your bottle opener. And this one has just lasted me a long time, as you can probably tell. Okay, we'll set my keys over there. Up next, while I did say I do not carry a firearm with me, I do carry a form of self-protection, and that would be this Kershaw Gravel. I got this knife for about $36. Now they go for about $50. I don't know whether that's just inflation or increased demand or what have you. This knife is very comfortable, fits well in my hand. It's even though I carry it for self-defense, quote unquote, it mostly spends its days opening packages, cutting strings off clothing, cutting cord, and opening mail, basically. If you are going to carry a knife with you in Chicago, the legal limit for blade length is 2.5 inches, which is what this Kershaw Gravel is. Also, I would say if you are going to carry something with you for self-defense, keep in mind that a knife legally is considered a lethal weapon, so you can't not that I would ever do this, but don't just pull it out to threaten someone or use it as a deterrent. If you're going to carry a knife for self-defense, know that it is legally considered a lethal tool. And if you are going to carry a knife or a blade or, something like that, I would highly recommend, you get some unarmed skills. I did fencing and HEMA, which kind of really helped me with like footwork and like edge alignment. But yeah, since I don't carry a firearm, I do carry this, and it is a nice little knife. Definitely recommend this one. I think you can get them on Amazon or directly from Kershaw. If you have like a Bass Pro Shops or like a Cabela's or something like that near you, they might carry that there. But that is something that goes with me basically wherever I go. Up next is a lighter. This one is this crazy like vaporwave purple clipper that I got a couple years ago from a corner store. I just saw it, got it on a whim. It was like 15 bucks. It's pretty cool. It's refillable. I was a Bear Scout. I didn't make it quite to like Weeblos or Boy Scouts as a kid, but it's always important to have a source of ignition with you. You never know when you might be caught in a storm somewhere or out in the wilderness and, need to make a fire in a pinch. Up next on my everyday carry in my pockets is a multi-tool. This right here is the Leatherman Skeletool. I got this last year, kind of bought it as a little gift to myself, and it has genuinely proved to be indispensable, especially since I have a bike. I kind of carry this just in case something happens with my bike, and it has come in handy. I sometimes carry it for just like minor around the house tasks. This multi-tool has a carabiner and bottle opener. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on the little, there we go, the little bottle opening like logo and carabiner. So I've got two bottle openers just in case one breaks, I got another one. It also has a 2.5-inch blade on it. I don't know if I would, we've got some sweat on there. I don't know if I would rely on this for self-defense, but it has come in useful for, cutting cord, cutting strings off clothes, things like that. Like I said, also 2.5 inches, so it's also perfectly legal to carry around in Chicago. Also, as part of the tool, you can open it up, and you've got like a little hand screwdriver with a bit. This one is just kind of like a standard, one side is Phillips head, one side is flathead bit. I have a couple other bits, like I have a hex bit for my bike. But yeah, you can swap those out and you can have like spare bits here in this nice little compartments. This one I have like two different flathead widths, density. I don't know what the actual term is. I'm definitely not a craftsman by any means, but having this tool has come in handy for sure. Also, when you really fully open it up, you've got your needle nose pliers, and then in the middle you've got like your little wire stripper and then a wire cutter. All in all, very useful piece of kit. Leatherman is a very good brand. This ran me about $90 when I purchased it last year. It has been indispensable though, and is worth every penny. Just a reminder though that like for those of you who do carry multi-tools, or people who carry multi-tools probably know what I'm about to say, but if you are new to multi-tools, just remember, a multi-tool is a jack of all trades. It does a lot of things okay, but it's not really an expert at anything, which is kind of why I wouldn't rely on the knife for self-defense or anything like that. If I need like a screwdriver, a drill, as opposed to just relying on these bits have broken on me a couple of times. I have like several replacements, and like real wire cutters and, pliers are probably going to be a little bit better and a little bit more precise than that. Now, the final thing that I carry in my pockets every day wherever I go has been the biggest game changer, and that is a flashlight. I got this Sofern. I got this on Amazon on Prime Day for about 26 bucks. It's a rechargeable flashlight. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy for saying a flashlight is such a game changer, but, I've dropped things on the ground. I've been to, out in the park at the dark and have dropped things while I'm on my bike. I've had to like go in my girlfriend's car, go under my girlfriend's car, and my phone is just like a little bit too bulky, but this flashlight is just really, really great. It's got a rechargeable battery. It does have a battery, battery cavity. That sounds like a weird word, but it does have, a battery, but this battery in particular is rechargeable. It's like this is just like the Sofern rechargeable that came with the flashlight. So you could change the battery out if you need to, or you can, just recharge it, which is what I do. There are 4 settings on this flashlight. There's like kind of like this low setting, which according to the manual, if you were just to leave it on, would last you about a month from what I've read. Next, you've got, the second brightest, or the second lowest, I should say, excuse me, setting. This is usually what I keep it on. I find it's slightly brighter than like your phone's flashlight, so it's more than good enough for most tasks. This battery life on this setting will last about 48 hours if you were to just leave it on continuously. Then you've got the bright setting. As you can tell, like, wow, it's really, really getting bright here. This is definitely very bright. This would last you about 8 hours. And then finally, you've got this turbo setting, which is crazy. And this flashlight does even get hot to the touch while it is on the turbo. I don't think I've found a need for this yet. I haven't needed to like light up a whole room, but maybe if I needed to blind somebody and run away or something, that could be an option, I guess. But this lasts about 3.5 hours if you were to just let it sit on this turbo setting and kind of let the battery run dry. But yeah, the Sofern little pocket flashlight, it is a great flashlight. Highly recommend a flashlight to anybody who is, basically anybody who's looking for not just gear, but something that is like valuable that you can carry around with you. I think it's important to have not just your phone's flashlight, but something like this. It's incredibly, incredibly beneficial. I cannot understate enough how awesome this is. So looking at all this stuff, as you can tell, there's a lot of things here that I carry around. So for fun, I got this little like Amazon Basics scale. So we're going to go ahead and put everything on the scale and see how much weight I am carrying around in my pockets every day with me. All right, so in order to get the most accurate reading, I can't actually put my phone on here since I'm using it to record, but I did weigh my phone before I started recording, and the phone in the case is 8.9 ounces. So we'll leave the case off to the side and just kind of start stacking everything else on here. And we'll kind of see what we get here. I'm going to try and find a good angle for you guys so you can see the numbers on the scale. There we go. So it's like, just put my wallet on here. Then the Burt's Bees. Then my contact solution. Then my Trails in the Sky First Chapter watch. Then the multi-tool. Then the lighter. I'll put the flashlight on next. And then the Kershaw. And then finally my keys. Ooh, kind of try and get everything on there. Cool. So right there, so we got 1 pound, 8.2 ounces. And if we add this 8.9, then I'm carrying about 2 pounds, 1 ounce, just like over 2 pounds of stuff in my pockets every day, which is pretty crazy to think about. Thank you again for watching my EDC video. If you liked this video, please leave me a like, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. Anything that you can do, it really does mean the most. Let me know in the comments what you guys carry in your EDC, the things that you bring around with you every day and everywhere you go. If you have any recommendations for me about things that I should be carrying or should consider carrying, just, let me know in those comments. Take it easy, guys. Peace.